I'm Scott Hayden. I'm a Scottish poet. Originally from Glasgow, grew up in Clydebank, in Ayrshire now 20 years. Well, I was living in Glasgow in the 70s, and Allen Ginsberg came to do a British tour, and I bought a ticket for the show in Glasgow. He did 2 readings in Glasgow, 1 in Edinburgh. So I bought a ticket for the first one in Glasgow, and the morning of the show, or the day before, I discovered I'd lost a ticket. So luckily I knew some people up at Scottish Arts Council place, so I went up there and banged on the door, and somebody came and said, what's the problem? And I explained, and he said, Alan's actually here right now doing his press conference, but come in and we'll sort you out later. So we sat at the back of the press conference room, and when his interview was finished, he started mixing about with people and sitting down and chatting to everybody. And there was a buffet thing, and I spoke to him there. And I was 25 then.
25?
Yeah. It's 1973.
And you were already doing poetry, and you knew about the big poets?
Oh yeah, they were really big to me. Yeah. I got always a wee bit of Keith Richards.
I went back to Keith Richards.
Yeah. I can remember being outside the school one day and I was reading this pop magazine, and Keith Richards was being interviewed. Who do you like as musicians? And he said Bob Dylan. We had D at the end of it, Bob Dylan. So I checked out Bob Dylan, and eventually in the back of, I think it was like the 4th Dylan album, he mentioned this big beautiful American poet Allen Ginsberg, and I thought, who's he?
So that was your first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by this time I was working in the University Library in Glasgow, so I was able to go and check out this name Ginsberg. And Ginsberg, of course, mentioned Jack Kerouac and all that. And Jack Kerouac got Gary Snyder, and Gary Snyder talks about Chinese poets. So Keith
that
Richards,
was your introduction to the big poet?
Yeah, and that's when I really got into them. I tried to buy their books, and the bookshops in Glasgow said, oh no, we have terrible problems with City Lights books. So it never happened. I never got any books for years and years, and then they began to filter through and got a few.
So you learned about the big poets from the magazine, is that right?
Well, I found them out in the
Keith
library
Richards.
because of Bob Dylan.
Because of Bob
Keith
Dylan.
Richards, Bob Dylan, Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac,
How
Gary
did you
Snyder,
find
Han
out?
Shan. That is the lineage.
How did you find out that Ginsberg was in Glasgow doing a recital?
I don't actually remember. It might have been advertised, or somebody could have told me. Maybe Tom McGrath even, you know. And I got my ticket. I think it was 10 bob.
10 shillings?
Yeah. And in that magazine, printed at the same time, there's a Lou Reed concert for ATP. Right. So this is how he was rated.
That's how he was rated.
That was the cheapest ticket. Yeah. 165 was the front row or whatever. It was 80p for the cheapest seats.
That's amazing.
In the Apollo.
You need a photocopy of the magazine. And then where did you realise you had lost it?
I just looked in my pocket or my wallet or whatever, and I never found out to this day what happened to it.
Really?
But I went up and they said, after the interview was over, somebody came and just gave me a replacement ticket. Right. So I ended up being at that reading, and the next one in Glasgow, and the one in Edinburgh as well, because I was going around with Alan by that time.
Right. So you realised you lost the ticket?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to this day. I just looked in my wallet or jacket or wherever I thought I had put it, and no ticket. So went up to the Arts Council place in Blythewood Square at the time, and explained my problem, because I think it was that very day that they read. I'm not sure about that, but I think it was that day, last minute job, and they said Alan's doing his press conference right now, but come in and sit at the back. So I was with another guy, Ian MacArthur, who was a full-time student at Glasgow, and the two of us went in. We sat there. Alan finished his memorable interview, most of which is in Scottish International magazine, the transcript of it. And then he came and mixed among the company, and he came and sat beside us, and he did a very typical Allen Ginsberg thing. He sit and talked to these 2 people he'd never seen before, and he just reached out and took my pal's glasses off and cleaned them up and handed them back because they were covered in dried eggs or whatever. Yeah. And that was a very, very Allen thing. It was just like that. It was dead sort of impromptu, and at school. You know. So then there was a wee buffet thing, we were all standing about the tables, and somebody said to him, "Where are you going to stay tonight?" And he said, "Oh, I haven't sorted that out yet," and I happened to be standing right next to it at the time, so I said, I gave him a wee nudge, and I said, "You can stay at my place." And he said, "Would that be okay?" And I said, "Oh, great." So he did. Stayed there one night, and then it was off to Edinburgh, and we were kind of on the road after that. Pretty much,
you were staying where at the time in Glasgow?
Wilton Street.
Wilton Street.
Yeah.
You just walked it back to your bit?
Probably.
Aye.
Probably. Yeah. They like to walk everywhere. The night after that, we walked with some friends of mine away up Mary Hill Road.
Just come up Mary Hill Road.
In the dark, and there was like wee old Mary Hill ladies were leaning out the windows on their elbows talking to their pals and all that, and Alan's walking up there reciting this Buddhist stuff and all that. It was quite surreal, it was brilliant, really good. He was admiring the big, he loved Kelvin Bridge. I don't know, as an American he saw it as an ancient artefact or something, like the actual bridge at the BBC as was. He thought that was an amazing
So
bridge.
did he have a set list of where he was going to go next?
Yeah. But I think the second Glasgow one was impromptu because the first one went so well, and they hurriedly added a second one. So I'm pretty sure it was Glasgow, then Edinburgh, then back to do the second Glasgow one.
And then you went with him to Edinburgh?
Yeah, and there was a bit of a gap, and we travelled a wee bit up north. We went up to Iona.
So you done Edinburgh first?
I think we did Glasgow and Edinburgh, and then went north and then came back to Glasgow. I think that's how it happened. It's a long time now, you know. So.
Glasgow, Edinburgh, Iona?
Yeah. Just travelling about up to Iona. There was nothing, no performance things or anything happening up there. We went up on the train, up Lomanside and Oban and over to Iona, and stayed at a bunkhouse place. And late at night, it was really good. He said, "Let's go out for a walk." It was a beautiful, beautiful summer night in Iona, and there was not a soul about. I walked along this wee dark road among these kind of Celtic crosses and things, but you could see well. And we went into the cathedral. It was open all the time, in the Iona Cathedral. Sometime around midnight, and there was some little lights on and all that. And Alan started doing his chanting and things in there as well, you know. And he says to me in the cathedral, he said, "Did you ever see eternity?" I don't remember what I said, but it was a good question.
Did you take any photographs in Iona?
No, I had no camera at the time. He had a little rollie that he carried everywhere, and I took some pictures of him at his request. He would say, "Take one of me here, take one," you know. So I took maybe half a dozen or a dozen in the 10 days. But I had no camera on my own. I had hopped it a few months before to go up to Skye, and my camera was still in
So
there.
what did you do for money?
I don't
He's
know.
had money.
I must have had a recently cash gyro or something like that. And Alan, of course, paid for the accommodations and all that.
Did he?
And he needed some help getting about actually, because he had a broken leg. He had broken his leg in the spring, and it was still healing up. And he was walking with a stick, and he was carrying his travelling gear, and he also had a harmonium. Quite a heavy little thing, so this had to be managed, and I was humping the harmonium about. He gave me my first music lesson on it.
Did he?
Yeah. It belonged to Peter Orlovsky, who's Alan's long-time companion. They lived together for years and years and years. And this belonged to Peter for some reason, but he had it with him in his travels. And Bob Dylan had shown him the rudiments of 12-bar blues on the harmonium. C, C, F, from which Alan had developed all this sort of bluesy Buddhist stuff that he was doing and performing at the time. And he said, I'll show you what Bob taught me. And he gave me the same exact little lesson that Bob Dylan had given him on the same little instrument. That was really cool. I enjoyed that. I never got any good at the piano. I never became any good at the piano. But it was interesting just to do everything. He got great sounds out of it. It's like a squeeze box, you know, maybe pump organ type. Made some good noises. He got really good at it. He really became good at it later on. He'd already made an album at that time of Blake songs, because he was mad for William Blake after, you know, he had these famous visions of him and all that. And he told me about them.
He used that instrument in the album.
He may have done, probably, yeah. I've got it, and it's very strange music, but it's really, it's interesting, you know. And of course the lyrics are fantastic, being William Blake, you know.
So he's done Glasgow, Edinburgh, Iona. And then back to Glasgow.
Back to Glasgow, and then we went down south. I think we went to Manchester first. For some reason, I think I wanted to see someone there, and then went to Yorkshire Dales, where there's an American poet and publisher as well, Jonathan Williams, quite an important guy. He was there with his partner Tom, living in this millionaire's cottage. Some millionaire had sort of sponsored them by letting them live in this house rent free. It's quite a place. It had a sauna, it had original Blake prints on the wall.
Really?
I was going up to the loo and I thought, oh yeah, it's Blake's Ghost of a Flea on the landing.
So who was he?
Jonathan Williams, an American poet of the same period. Not exactly a beat poet, Jonathan Williams, I don't think, I wouldn't say that. But he ran a magazine as well, and it was, it's quite highly thought of.
So you stayed there?
We stayed there a night, and then straight down to London, I think, after that, and a couple of days there, visiting other people that we knew. And the whole journey, it was quite galling. Alan is desperate to meet up with William Burroughs, and every time he saw a phone, he called Burroughs' number, and he was never in. And because Burroughs wasn't in, he phoned Paul McCartney instead. He was dying to go and see Paul McCartney, but he was never in either. So he never got
their numbers.
Guy had them, yeah. Burroughs lived in London at the time, but he was away in Italy on holiday, and this is before emails and mobiles and that, so if somebody's phoned in to ring, it's all over,
So what did you tour? Just do the sites in London? Or?
Well, he knew a lot of people, so we went about visiting some people. We went to some place in Kensington, and Ian Somerville was there, who was another figure out in that Burroughs coterie. Who also wrote things, I think, I'm not sure, but he's quite a prominent figure anyway. And we went to Alexander Trocchi's house. Alex Trocchi, the guy that wrote Kane's book. He was famously a serious junkie. And Alan and Trocchi sat at a little table in the house. It was night time, it was dark. Now there was this big huge room full of books, and I just sat at the far end reading the books and let them get on. They were talking about a magazine that was coming out or something like that. And every hour or so, Trocchi got up, went away out of the room mysteriously for 10 minutes, and then came back. And he was all drinking very large glasses of rum at the same time. And he was absolutely fine, totally compos mentis.
So did you stay there?
No, we stayed in a hotel. I went to Carlisle as well at some point. That must have been on the way to Manchester. And Alan was dead curious. He's always full of questions, I remember being.
What was in Carlisle?
I think. I don't know how we got to Carlisle. Excuse me. We had been to Sammy Ling, where Joe Young Trungpa was at the time, which I didn't realise till the other day when I was looking stuff up. And because he got really friendly with Trungpa and into doing stuff together and all that. But he went there, and I remember him disappearing away into the Lama's room for about 3 hours. There were some big serious discussions about Buddhism, because he was really deeply involved in it. He knew a lot about it, and he was very serious about it. So away he went off, and I just went down to the meditation hall, and people were all sitting there. It's nice. It's the only time I've ever been there, but nice place. And then after that, we went on to Carlisle. And the only thing I remember about Carlisle is eating some sort of hot pot in a pub, because Alan wanted to taste a local delicacy on the menu, and he's asking me, what do all these guys do? What would their jobs be? So I had to use my imagination then. So, never having been to Carlisle before. He was curious about everything, and he knew so many things. There was one place, I think it was on Iona, at the bunkhouse place, and there was a man and woman also staying there, and they were Americans. So we're all sitting having a ham and eggs, and this guy made some casual remark about some current thing in American politics, and Alan just sort of went off into one in a very nice way, but he just took over the conversation. And honestly, the stuff that he came out with in the next 20 minutes was more detailed and intricate than the best political programme you've ever seen. He picked up what this guy had mentioned, and he just gave him the rundown to like what had happened leading up to that the last few years, when so and so was in such and such a department and they brought out the bill for blah blah, and this other guy came, and it was so detailed, it was uncanny, it was encyclopedic knowledge, you know. American politics, and very critical. And poor wee man, it was as if Jack Kerouac could come into the room and say his famous line, "Eat your eggs and shut up," you know, because the guy just didn't say another word. But it was nice, it wasn't an unpleasant thing, but Alan just dominated it with this encyclopedic knowledge of what was going on. It was remarkable, it was amazing.
And he's done Blake, William Blake.
Yeah, we went to Blake's grave.
Where is that?
Bunhill Fields. It's about 15 minutes for Liverpool Street Station, something like that. I think Alan was in the habit of going there every time he was in London, you know. He felt this connection with William Blake. So we went there with Harry Fainlight, who is an English kind of beat poet guy. He was in, Fainlight's in that Peter, what's his name, film, Holy Communion, in the Albert Hall. He figures in that, reading one of his poems, like Baldania. And some imaginary come to the mind. So he was a bit unwell, I think. He was a bit schizophrenic or something, Harry Fainlight. I don't know the details, but you could tell he was very twitchy and upset. But he was okay, you know. He coped, and we went to see the grave and went out there. I think I took some pictures there for him. But, I don't know where all these what pictures I took, what I didn't, but I think they're all in that collection from Stanford University.
So it's documented that. Did you take any on trains or buses?
I remember taking one on a train, for sure. I don't know why you wanted that.
One of him, you took it?
Yeah. There's a few times I said, but I don't remember. I just remember that I got to use a wee camera. We went to Hugh McDermott's house. It was McDermott's birthday, and some of the papers saying Alan went to visit his friend Hugh McDermott, but they had never met before. It was somebody in Glasgow's idea that they should go down in two cars actually went. Hugh McDermott was there in his little cottage and stayed for an hour or two, and there was a cup of tea and glasses of whiskey and whatnot.
Did McDermott know who Ginsberg was?
Oh yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, because he was quite famous back then.
Aye,
you know,
right, I just want to make sure.
So yeah, Hugh McDermott knew about him. They got their picture taken together and all that. Fascinating.
A couple of drinks. That's brilliant.
And then after London, he just went home. He went over to the Pan Am office, and that was it. And I didn't see him again for 8 years.
So it was 8 years you were working in America?
Yeah, I was. 8 years later. I got myself into Santa Monica on my way home to Japan, and I saw in a magazine the What's On thing, you know, that Alan was doing a reading, and I went along to that and saw him. He called me up, so spoke to him again a few more times. Saw him at the hotel. It was a writers' convention thing, so lots of people were there. And at his auntie's house. And Peter Orlovsky, who's kind of famous for cleaning. This is the guy who's Alan's partner. He's famous for cleaning things all the time. His mental health is not at the best, and now his brother was very poorly for years and years. But I remember that day he had taken the windows right out of the wall in Allen Ginsberg's aunt's apartment, and he was cleaning them, taking them into the kitchen and cleaning them all, and brought them back out and put them back in. They were removable, you know, he didn't do any violence, but he was a very industrious guy. He was always doing things, some kind of Zen practice or something, I don't know. He was always cleaning up.
So where did you finally part? Where was the last?
The last time I saw him.
Before you saw him 8 years later?
At the Pan Am departure place where you go and get your coach out to the airport. Yeah.
And you made your way back up to Glasgow and carried on?
Yeah.
Where you left off? From the last ticket?
I'm sure there's more things, but or suddenly,
Right on.
Something else, man.
That's alright.